You are listening to the audio production of Trusted, Preparing Your Kids for a Lifetime of God-Honoring Money Management by Matt Bell, published by Focus on the Family, in alliance with Tyndale House Publishers. This book is read by the author. To access a supplemental PDF with charts, graphs, and other visual material associated with this audiobook, please visit tyndale.life/trusted. Dedication. For Jonathan, Andrew, and Annika, you are vivid daily expressions of Psalm 127, verse 3. Priceless gifts, undeserved rewards. I'm so thankful for you. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Luke chapter 16, verse 10. Introduction. More than money. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. One morning when our daughter Annika was about 3, my wife Jude and I heard her getting dressed in her bedroom. Suddenly, and with great delight, she exclaimed to no one in particular, "I have pockets!" We hardly had time to laugh before she followed that with, "I want money in my pockets!" Kids develop an awareness of and a curiosity about money at a surprisingly early age. Researchers say that children as young as 2 can begin to understand that money is a means of exchange. They wouldn't use those words, of course, but when they're with us at the checkout line in a store, they understand at some level that an exchange is taking place. This idea is probably clearer in their minds when we use cash than when we use something as abstract as a credit card or the tap of our phone, but our kids can see that we give the cashier something and we receive something in return, groceries or clothing or a new toy. Class is always in session. But what are our kids learning about money, and who's doing most of the teaching? If parents are not intentional about teaching their kids wise practices concerning the use of money, the consumer culture that surrounds us will be more than happy to be the teacher. In fact, that culture is teaching all of us all the time, overtly, subtly, and in both cases, very effectively. But the lessons our culture has for us are anything but healthy. Consider the fact that it's normal for adults to have too much debt and too little in savings, too much financial stress and too little joy. And what about that constant nagging sense that if we just had something more, we'd be so much happier? Where did that come from? We have the opportunity to teach our kids much better lessons about money, but we have to remember that there's only so much time available. As I say this, our kids are now 13, 15, and 17. In the blink of an eye, our oldest, Jonathan, went from Thomas the Tank Engine to taking the ACT, from coloring books to college visits. When he was born, people told us time would fly, and now here we are. While it saddens us to think about our children leaving home, it's also exciting. From the moment they were born, Jude and I understood that our job was mostly to put ourselves out of a job, to prepare our kids to go out into the world and make good decisions on their own, to navigate life's countless ups and downs with faith, perseverance, and wisdom, and have the impact God uniquely designed each of them to have. I think you'll agree that parenting is filled with moments of great joy and just as many daunting responsibilities. What's more, children don't exactly come with owner's manuals that tell us exactly how to teach them about money or anything else. That's why Jude and I are so grateful for the mentors God put in our lives. The funnel. When Jude was pregnant with Jonathan, we took part in a parenting class led by the associate pastor at our church, Keith, and his wife, Caroline. They used the metaphor of a funnel to suggest a helpful way of thinking about raising kids. As Keith explained, the basic principle is that you start very narrow in terms of what you expect of your kids and the freedoms you give them. During the early years, parents make most of the decisions for their kids, what they'll eat, what they'll wear, and who they'll hang out with. As kids get older and prove themselves more trustworthy and capable of making wise decisions, the funnel broadens. Eventually, the goal is for them to be making good decisions on their own. That metaphor made a lot of sense, and it had the advantage of being biblical. This principle can be seen in the parable of the talents, in which Jesus describes our relationships with God and money by using the story of a wealthy man who entrusts his property to the care of 3 servants before leaving on a journey. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each
Sample complete. Ready to continue?